Okay, hey everybody. If this is the beginning of the show. Usually I sit here and wait for people to come on. So if you're catching this after the live show, you're seeing some downtime for like the first minute. Basically, I wait till the notice goes out and then people come on, they join and all that good stuff. In this show, I cover all kinds of stuff. I cover all the local news over the past 24 hours. Sometimes I might go into some national news. I answer questions, so if you have any questions, you could just feel free to shoot them at me over to the right there whenever you want to. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going in and sharing this on the other pages so that it's out there. But then I'll start the news. I'm just waiting for that notification to go out, which for some reason it's taking a while today. Let's see. We'll start off with this one story, though. Yeah, it's not, I don't know what's going on with Facebook. It's a little slow today. So let's go ahead and get started. Jabiz, bring Jabiz home. This is that guy, that 14-year-old that's been missing out of the Newtown area. I've posted his picture a few times, and they're having a gathering where it's on Sunday, September 24th at 6 p.m. at Newtown Estates. It's a prayer. It's an attempt to bring more attention to the fact that he's missing. If you guys could share that, if you're not sure where it is, like everything with my website, you can't find stuff on the scoop anymore for some reason without the search bars. So I tell everyone, go to the uncensoredreport.com. It's at the top right there is a search bar, and you could type in Jabez, Jabez. If you could share that, a lot of people are really concerned, and they think something unbecoming might have happened, so there's a lot of focus on that right now. That would be great. I know the parents would appreciate it. All right, and as I reported yesterday, the Northport Commission finally put in the approval for the Braves. So the Braves are coming here. Well, some of you may not be clapping. Some of you may be going, oh, boy. River Road. No, everybody wants it to expand. But where's the money going to come from? And the state originally had a plan out there, and they were essentially going to take care of everything. But we don't have that anymore, do we? Because it's been expedited. So somehow over between the next year and a half, are they going to widen it? And I'm here to say I don't think so. I've seen a lot of the initiatives out there to try to get the money for it, and it's just falling flat. So my biggest concern is River Road. Where is all that traffic going to go? And it's not just the Braves, folks. It is the additional traffic. If you look at Westfield Villages, I think it's 40,000 homes they're going to build there. And we got to deal with all that congestion. You guys know what 75 is like now? You guys know what River Road is like now. Imagine what it's going to be like there. So a lot of concern there with the Braves deal. A lot of people, they said they weren't going to pay anything. Northporters are actually paying what? I think over $4 million for it. So there was going to be a cost associated. We all will pay something for it because now instead of going through the normal process with River Road, we have to front the money as the county. Again, if you're just joining, you can ask questions. And once I see questions pop up, if I see any, I'll answer them. It's an interactive news show, if you will. It's unedited, unscripted, so I wing it by the seat of my pants. Trulieve, this is good. Trulieve medical cannabis dispensaries. There's a lot of people going out and getting the medical marijuana prescriptions. They used to have to get it filled up in St. Pete, Tampa, and now you got this Trulieve medical cannabis that is opening in Bradenton. They're open. They're good to go. They're there for business. And I think we have another one looking at Northport, but that may be a while. So now you can just go up there if you want to fill your cannabis needs. I put out this other thing. It was interesting. I think it was WWSB, SNN. They put out a report on where the world's championship rowers can go to have a good time in Sarasota. And I thought, well, this is a pretty interesting video, actually, for people that are local here. And they had this drink. The picture that's on there is actually some kind of smoked whiskey that they put there, and they smoke it. Now, I don't drink, but it looked good. And again, if any of these world championship, you go to my page, put that up in the top right-hand search bar, and you'll be able to find that article. They talked a lot about FPL. I brought up that FPL said you could call them or you could go down to, where are they at? They're over there, at that arena, Robots Arena. I didn't know if they would listen, but apparently they do. And they interviewed this older guy who needs help, and they're listening to him. They're trying to talk to him. And I guess for the individual, made them feel better that they had a face to talk to. I don't know if it's going to help them like it did the girl in the pink, but it helped bring ease to their mind. Some other stuff is just the overall economic impact of Irma. And I've cited this a few times. You know, you had a few businesses that have been closed for a week without revenues. People that live paycheck to paycheck. We talked about PTSD yesterday with Irma. People not able to make money. They live paycheck to paycheck. Their businesses are shut down. A lot of people down here are service oriented. They're at the restaurants. Restaurants were closed. No electricity. Not all of them, but majority of them. And it was very concerning. And there are programs, federal programs out there to try to help you via grants and stuff. I did come across something, and I'll share in a minute. Here, actually, let's go to it now. This is something, 2 stories that just came out. I haven't been able to share them yet. One regards your chainsaws, your generators, your housing, and everything out there. What they've got is this assistance program now that's through Irma, where you can receive federal reimbursement for equipment or purchased. It was for some equipment used or purchased for relief, for storm relief. This goes out to individuals and business owners, and they can apply for assistance to replace a generator. Let's say you bought a generator, you got it for storm relief, it broke, or a chainsaw, something happened, you lost power, or whatever the case may be. You can go to this place. You can either go to disasterassistance.gov or the 1-800-621-3362 and get financial assistance to replace those items. The other thing is parking meters. We talked in Sarasota. We talked about the garage over there. I think it's on Park Street, on Park, and how they're going to look at maybe charging people. They're doing a study. Well, they're also doing the parking meters downtown to try to alleviate the parking problem, and I'm going to touch on that in just a second. And they're in the discussion phase where they're going to try to put 450 parking spaces up with meters. They haven't decided on an equipment company yet, but they want that in place by May of 2018. And it was funny. I was listening to the news yesterday, and they're like, well, we're trying to figure out how to resolve the problem because there's no parking. And I thought, Jesus, why didn't you think of that when you were inviting all the tourists here, when you were promoting all the development? And that's what these politicians do. They don't plan for the infrastructure. You know, we got the same problem here in Venice. They haven't planned. It's overcrowded. You can't go anywhere during the season. And now they want to, the last proposal was, hey, let's buy pineapples and put up maybe a garage there, or we'll expand City Hall there with money they don't have. They can't even pay the firefighters. They can't even get new trucks. They can't repair the fire department because they keep doing all this frivolous spending. And it amazes me how they don't plan. You know, they go ahead and they push for all this stuff that they know are going to drive in consumers, tourists, whatever you want to call them, and they don't plan accordingly for it. And then us, the locals who are here, end up paying with higher taxes, like they were trying to do with the fire tax, and like they are doing with the county fire taxes going up. The superintendent, Todd Bowen, came out and he said, look, we're not going to have any makeup days for the hurricane. Some people were concerned because it's mandated you have to have so many days, but based upon adding the extra 30 minutes into the school year and stuff, we're going to be fine, they said, which is good. I know a lot of students were like, oh, God, are we going to have to make this up? No. If you're just joining, go ahead and I'm used to seeing some type of typing up here. Any questions, anything, go ahead and throw them out at me over there to the right. There we go. Michelle just popped up. Sorry. If you already mentioned it, but did you talk about the fishing pier? No, I didn't. And I'm going to talk, you know what? I was going to talk about it. It's coming up. We'll talk about it now. If you guys saw the video, they had a structural engineer go out on Monday. He looked it over, and then they went out to the city council, presented it yesterday. I believe they have a dive team that's going out and looking at it today. Basically, there's structural issues. What are they going to do? They said that up to the bait shop, it seems to be fine. So the go is within the next couple weeks is to get it opened up to the bait shop, okay? After that, though, who knows? They got to come up with money. Now, the question is can they tap into those FEMA dollars and repair the pier? I don't know. That's probably the question they're asking themselves, because I could tell you, if we go back to my previous conversation I just had, where there's no money for two new fire trucks they need for the repair the fire department. They need the new jaws of life. I guess the jaws of life that the fire department has now isn't powerful enough with a lot of the newer cars. People aren't aware that. A council member just told me that. And they don't have the money for that. So do they have the money to go out and fix this pier? Now it drives tourism, but how much tourism do they really need it if it's opened up to the bait shop? I don't know. These are the questions they're going to have to ask themselves. One thing I've heard is possibly next year. I can tell you when it comes to money, and if you're talking structure on that pier, when it comes to money, guys, hey, Jennifer from Georgia, when it comes to money, it's going to be very hard, because this right now, we are not bringing in enough money to cover the expenses, we being the city. To go out and spend it on that. So I'm hoping there's FEMA dollars out there, guys. What's the deal? Sorry, I can't type. Lee, no problem. We're covering the news over the last 24 hours. You're allowed to ask questions on there. And we just covered the pier, how it structurally failed basically on Monday, and the likelihood of it being repaired, which I don't think is going to, if the money is there, which I follow, guys, I follow these city meetings all the time. I don't go to them, but I listen to them on my computer all day long. There's one today, the City of Venice at 2:30. I'm sure that pier might be brought up again. If there's anything new, I'll let you know, but I just can't see it opening and them spend the money on it until next year. Now, the bait shop, up to the bait shop, maybe, because they said that one was fine. Their engineer went out there, Kathy Wiederman. Let's see. This was kind of funny, but not funny. The Sarasota County, due to high volume of trash and yard waste out there, we're going to see a delay in the collection routes. You guys didn't think there was going to be a high volume of trash out there with the hurricane that just flowed through? For some reason, it made me laugh. I'm like, why didn't you plan for that? I think all of us know there's going to be a delay. I mean, it's been almost a week, and my stuff's still sitting out there, but I expected it. Not a big deal. Sarasota Police Department giving aids to the Keys. This is nice. They ended up with, I think, 3 truckloads of supplies going down to the Keys. Badly needed. If you guys saw the drone and drive-along video I put there, they were devastated. Another city that's getting devastated, that is the United States territory. These are U.S. people, Puerto Rico. I put up a video. They're just getting hammered. Now, some people were saying to me, basically, that's fine that they're doing it. It's great, but there's a lot of people here locally that are impacted. Couldn't they maybe filter off some of that over to people in this area that have been impacted? That's debatable. We'll hear that debate for years. Clydesdales. This is huge, I guess. I mean, 160 shares, and I think before I've had tons of shares. Clydesdales will be down in Venice. If you're coming from Sarasota, just take the North Bridge. At your second light, make a right, or your first light, make a right, and Centennial Park is where you want to be. If you're coming from Northport Inglewood over the Circus Bridge, just go down until Venice Avenue, make a left, boom, you're there. Or if you're coming over from Mayaca and you go over the main bridge, boom, you're there. I'm going to try to do a live presentation. It's at 6 o'clock. The Clydesdales come here every year, and I've never seen them. Now I've seen them at Bush. My daughter, Isabella, goes to USF. She just finalized her employment with Bush. And I used to like going up there and enjoy watching them, but I have not seen them here. So we're going to videotape that. I'm going to try to do a live videotape. Let me say that. I'm going to actually try. Aaron, if you're watching, Aaron's the CEO with Venice Main Street. I'm going to go down. I want to contact you after this and see if we can do a interview in the staging area before you guys take off. The next ones, they talk about Hurricane Maria and how it's directed a lot of Puerto Ricans. That I guess we have a strong Puerto Rican community here, and they just talked about how it's going to impact them, their cousins. And, we all go through that. I have sisters, cousins, and everything in Italy, and we got a lot of earthquakes there. We had a huge fire down in Calabria recently. A lot of news coming across the wires. Every time you guys hear that beep, that's news coming across the wires for me. Chief Vespa receives high fives at Glen Allen Elementary. We'll have to see what that's about. He's retiring soon if you don't know Northport. The Venice Council meeting. One thing I did bring up, I started thinking about stuff I was talking about yesterday, and I'm always hopping around. When I put out about Lamarck University with the same kid, they call him Knife Boy now, getting caught with a knife for the second time. If you haven't seen that story, go to the uncensoredreport.com. Top right-hand search box, type in Lamarck or knife. Type in knife or Lamarck, and you'll find the story. What I was starting to do when I talked about Scott Ferguson, who's their media guy, and I got sidetracked talking about the psychiatrist that I ran, and everybody hammered me, and Scott ignored it, was that the reason I don't go to a lot of these government officials anymore, be it with the sheriffs, the police, or anything, is they've started to ignore my FOIA requests. Basically, when media wants information, or individuals too, you just say, hey, FOIA request, what's the story? And you'll get a police report. Northport's very good. Josh will send me a police report. I can do a story out of it. But the county, Sarasota County, I think they get upset because some of the stuff that I put out there, they tend to ignore me. Sarasota police are a little bit better. Venice police really, the person in charge of that is Lorraine, and she calls me fake news. She tells everyone I'm fake news and they shouldn't go to the site. So obviously she's not too helpful. But Lori Setzler, the city clerk, is very good at Venice. But the problem is the people you need to talk to, like the mayor or the Scott Fergusons of the world or the politicians, they don't want to talk to you because you wrote hard-hitting stories about them, and so they're pissed at you. And it only hurts them because then I put out a one-sided story, and their input's not on there. So if the mayor does something stupid, like where was he during the shelter thing, you can't tell his side of the story. And it's a little one-sided because in his case, he told me never to write him again. Imagine that, a mayor telling a resident, don't you ever write me again. All right. We got Amber Alert. I put this up there because they're out in North Carolina, but they're heading to Florida. Somebody said, what about a picture of the kid? Yeah, that would be great, but there's no picture. Right? He's about an 8-month-old kid. There's no picture, and I think they're thinking, well, if you see these two people, you got a better idea of what we're looking for. STEM coding out at the Selby Library on the 20th, which I think is today at 6:15 p.m. Great opportunity to get out there and learn a little bit about coding your kids. I put something out there about the opioid industry, and I don't know if our state's involved in this in a lot of the cities, and everybody's going after these big pharma now for the opioid addiction, and the way they market it out there, basically just accelerating the devastation that we've seen from it, which has led to other stuff, fentanyl and all that crazy stuff. Not a lot of comments on the We Are Jazz. This was sometimes I'll put out these things that says the provocative question of the day, where people can go out and look and see and respond to issues that are out there. Maybe not here. This one happened to be in California, but it addresses how a kid came out in a kindergarten class. I don't know how he knows he's a girl or boy, or she is a girl or boy at that age, but I guess they do. And they came out and they started talking about it, and they started talking about it with this book, We Are Jazz, and they didn't contact any parents. A lot of people were very upset about that. I said, how do you feel about that here? Because I could see that happening here. Actually, I've heard of stuff like that happening here. And how would you address it and all that good stuff? The Introduction to Business Development is a free course for entrepreneurs, and it's in Sarasota. It's September 26th, December 19th from 6 to 9. I put that information up there. The general election, they put out a sample ballot so that people will basically understand it. This is for Venice. Venice, you got Carlissimo, who's somebody that was in office and he was ran off. Not someone I'm a fan of. He's going up against Mitzi. Mitzi, I'm not sure of. I mean, some of the comment I heard from her yesterday made me a little leery of her, but which one do you choose now? So I got to dissect them both. Anderson, she's a current council member. She's run for a different seat. She's a little nutty, but she advocates. She's a huge advocate for the individuals. I got to tell you, I watch all these meetings. She advocates strongly for the people. And she is killed, shot down, all those those politicians that have been there forever, and they like doing the favors, and they like working for the developers, whatever you want to call them. They really shoot her down, and they try to push her out. The Gondo tries to make her look like an idiot because they favor a lot of the politics that Hollick is pushing, which Anderson is against. She's going against the guy that was on the planning committee. I don't know anything about him. I got to research him. My only concern is the planning committee patting themselves on the back for that comp plan they put out, which just essentially passed another hurdle yesterday, which is very, very pro-business. One of the things is they want to downgrade our roads from a D to an E. And with that, we cannot go to developers for money to ask them to help share some money towards the new roads that will be impacted by their developments. Jeff Boone's all in favor of this new comp plan, which should make you really wary. FWC talked a lot about the snakes that could come out. I've been put on a lot about the mosquitoes. I put out where they hit last night and the night before. I'll put out something every night. With this standing water, we're going to start seeing a lot more mosquitoes, you guys. So take preparations. I'm not a fan of the aerial spraying and some of the chemicals they spray, but what do? Do you sit there and just get attacked by mosquitoes? The big question, isn't it? Northport doing some work, the pier, and that basically summarizes everything. Let me see real quick on this other news, and let me check these beeps that just came in while we were on the phone. On a live. You guys got any last minute questions you want to hit me up with real quick before we take off? Wow, Puerto Rico's just getting hammered. Somebody, this guy, Carlos Munoz, he's with the Herald. He takes a lot of their photos and that. He just posted this photo. Wow, this video. I'll share it. I mean, you could barely see. They're just getting hammered there in Puerto Rico. Let's see. Chief Vespa was at Glen Allen, which I said, giving out high fives. He had Sarasota PD. They said they've seen a few delays on Fruitville in the last few days, and that's because of the Robarts Arena being the staging area for FPL. You're going to start to see less of that as we go through and more of the electric gets turned on. There he talked about a K9 that went on 1,000, the Sarasota Sheriff, 1,278 deployments, 102 located subjects, 7+ faithful years, and they're retiring one of their dogs. So a lot of scoop out there, huh? Actually, there wasn't a lot of scoop today. Very dead news day. But that's it for now. If you guys have any more questions, shoot now. If not, share this video with this link. I almost got rid of the mic. With this link, I'm going to put my link to the website so that a lot of your non-Facebook people can follow it. I actually have a ton of traffic that goes directly to the website. So they get to see this a little bit later. I used to be able to share it directly, and I can't do that anymore. So that's it. This has been Frankie. 1, 2, 3. I'm out of here. All right, everybody. Have a great day.